The person who is leading the songs in the realm of the spirit in a church is not really a worship leader. If we're talking about men in the church, you get people who serve God in church. The pastor of the church is the worship leader. Church is filled with spiritual people. So you could be on stage quite all right and you're singing, but it doesn't mean necessarily that the spiritual atmosphere or the activities in that place is controlled by you, because the spirit of worship is not the prerogative of any man. So what I will encourage Christians to do majorly is that wherever you are in a church meeting, make sure that you as a person know how to tune into the revelations of God, no matter what is happening up there, and let your heart respond to God. The business of worship is a spiritual thing being done for God, and as such, you need to be in a place yourself spiritually where you can facilitate people's journey of receiving that revelation.
In a situation where the person, that's the worship leader now, refuses to, like I said, go back and receive ministry, and then goes on stage to minister, would you say that, because music is spiritual, right? Would you say that that would affect the potency of what they are ministering to the people?
It really is not as straightforward as that.
Okay.
You see, because when we are gathered together in a place to worship God, all right, first of all is to understand that in the real sense of, for instance, in church, right, the person who is leading the songs in the realm of the spirit in a church is not really the music leader. It's not the worship leader. If we're talking about men in the church, you get people who serve God in church. The pastor of the church is the worship leader in church, all right? But besides that is the fact that church is filled with spiritual people, okay? So you could be on stage quite all right and you're singing, but it doesn't mean necessarily that the spiritual atmosphere or the activities in that place is controlled by you.
Okay.
You get that?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. It's a lot more varied than people think. You see, it's not that, okay? In fact, you could have the microphone. You've been designated the worship leader or facilitator for the day, you get? But because your heart is not right, not just because of what you did, but if your heart is not right in that moment, we will worship God, we will leave you alone. You see, because the spirit of worship is not the prerogative of any man. It's not any man's property. It's not anybody's property. Say, if I don't get it right, the people will not worship God today. No. 1,000 times no. There are people who, depending on how we relate with God personally as believers, we could be in a place, song is going on right, we could worship without even following you. You get? We could be in a place for a whole 1 hour, you're singing songs, and we don't sing your song. Not even because we know anything about it. No. That's not the issue. The issue is that each one of us, every single one of us, has the Spirit of God. And it is by the Spirit of God that we worship. The true worship leader in the believer is the Spirit of God in him. And when the Spirit of God is at work, and that's why we said it's a response to revelation. It's a response of my heart. It's the response of my heart to the revelation of God. It's from my heart. It's not from the atmosphere. My worship is not atmospheric. My worship is from my heart. So what I will encourage Christians to do majorly is that wherever you are in a church meeting, in whatever it is, we're worshiping, whatever it is, make sure that you as a person know how to tune into the revelations of God, no matter what is happening up there. Make sure you know how to tune into, the revelations of God, and let your heart respond to God. God is so good. I understand the perspective of the thought of designate leader not doing well, so it affects us. But God in his love and his grace has made provision that you don't have to be stunted because the designated leader is not doing well. You get? Yeah. We can go beyond that. we can worship God in spite and despite of what's there. All right? So at times when pastors say, oh, the worship leaders are not doing well, that is why the power is not flowing. No, it's not necessarily accurate. Okay? Because the Spirit of God, in as much as he has been given to each one of us and he lives and functions in each one of us, is not tied to what the power of God's Spirit can flow from within the congregation to other congregants and not necessarily from the altar. We see at times we have glorified that space we call the altar.
Yeah.
And the outbursts of the Spirit don't need to burst out from the altar. The church altar, the stage, is just the stage. The altar is the man's heart. Okay? So one person, two people in the congregation who really know what they're doing in their relationship with God could actually be the place where the gushers start coming out from and the whole place is saturated. You know, and when the Spirit is at work, he really doesn't need the microphone or the sound system.
Yeah.
Okay? It does that.
So for a person leading worship and music, why does spiritual maturity matter more than vocal ability?
Okay, good. So first of all let us acknowledge the good of vocal ability. It's good to have good vocals. It's like a vehicle, all right, that carries the content. It's a container for the content, all right. However, let's also be quick to say that you should not refine vocal ability at the expense of spiritual well-being. Some people get just carried away with their vocal abilities and they invest so much into it. They learn all the tricks and all the things that are there, which is good. But again, one thing I personally have seen at times in worship is some leaders get so caught up in all those riffs, runs, and the things that come up. The problem with that many times is that it takes people's attention away from God and brings it to them. Some may not realize that, but it's the fact. When you have crisp, quality, accurate vocal capacity, one of the best things also in facilitating worship is simplicity. All right, so you hit your notes, your voice is clear, you can do, everything you need to do. But the simpler it is when it comes to leading people in worship, the better. Right? Because you don't also want to offer them a distraction. They could be so carried away with that. And that's why also, on the other hand, on the flip side, is that you should be able to sing well, to do that well. Yeah. Because again, if you're not hitting your notes, if you're going off key, that also takes people's attention away. It's just a distraction. You're giving people more work to contend with. All right. Now, having said that, it is true that when it comes to leading people, facilitating a worship experience for people, your spirituality is critical. Why? The business of worship is a spiritual thing, right? It's a spiritual thing being done for God. And as such, you need to be in a place yourself spiritually where you can facilitate people's journey of receiving that revelation. First of all is that if you are not as you should be spiritually, even what you will prefer by way of songs will be off, right? Also, your mindset, your goal, your purpose for that particular moment is likely going to be off. You're likely going to be thinking in terms of performance. You're likely going to be thinking in terms of applause. You're likely going to be thinking in terms of impressing people. You're likely going to be thinking more in terms of the responses of people rather than the response of God to what you're doing. So it's important, right, that your walk with God is as it should be, that your life in the Spirit is prioritized. And it's, you see, the thing about all things Christian, especially when it comes to ministries, borrow from Jesus, who says, out of your belly shall flow rivers of living waters. That's what it is. So everything that we do that is worthy of commendation in the sight of God is a flow, it's a fruit of that life. It's an outflow from that life. So you need to take care of that fountain so that it can produce what truly honors God. All right? So, but then if you now combine both of them, oh my God, that's what we desire, that's what we need. All right? Because men are imperfect, all right? We're growing. Church is also not for perfect people, it's for perfecting people. We're on a journey. So many times in many places we don't have, both hit together, but definitely it is what people should be aspiring to. It's what people should be working at. It's what people should be believing for. It's what we should be encouraging people to set their hearts on. So as you're growing, consuming the word of God, meditating on truth, you're praying, you're allowing the fountain that does not run dry to have expression in your life. Learn how to sing well if that's what you want to do, right? If you're going to be leading people, learn how to sing well. Learn proper stage conduct, because stage conduct is also for worship, is also not just singing. It's your presentation, it's your dressing, it's your posture, it's your stance, it's the kind of things you can say on stage and what you should not say on stage. It's how to talk to people respectfully. All right? It's not just saying things you've heard people say. It's having a feel of these people are here, having love towards them. And therefore seeing that what you're here to do is to help them have the best that they can have in that time in relating with God. So there are aspects to it, okay? But then this vocal thing is very important. It's cherished. It's a beautiful thing. If you meet someone who can sing their songs the way they should be sung, with clarity, hitting the notes, not chopping time, and stuff like that. And at the same time, they are using it as a vehicle, as a container for the river of life that is flowing out from them. Oh, it's such a beautiful experience for those who are on the other side, recipients, so to speak. Yeah.
I love that. It's such a beautiful way to wrap up the episode. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, comment your opinions. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section as well. We'll respond to them. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.